So, a few last comments about my trip to New York. I loved it. It was absolutely amazing. And I didn't take videos on the last 2 days I was there. One was because on the fourth day I was there, all I did was go to McDonald's to get food. That was it. I really didn't do much other than get the food and pack for the trip back. So, but one significant part of this trip that will always stay with me was getting to watch Phantom of the Opera on Broadway. That was cool. Getting to see like the chandelier, them revealing like a lot of stuff, and then I can't really explain in words how good that show was. But in order to make it to the show, I had to run with some friends right from like a restaurant nearby our hotel to the theater where the show was happening. And yeah, it was interesting running through the streets of New York, trying to find out which direction to go in order to make it, and we made it on time, which was amazing. And I really wanted to see like backstage, but I couldn't. One, because I didn't know if there was any tours to go backstage or not. I didn't know. And then two, I was extremely exhausted. I was running on pure adrenaline afterwards from watching the show. And so it was lucky that I even made it back to the hotel. But I'm glad for the two people that helped me make it back to the hotel. It was an interesting walk back, and I tried to video that walk. That didn't happen, because it wound up only being 1 second long, somehow. I don't know how, but it did. On the walk back, I was basically jumping up and down, acting like a 12-year-old. Just freaking out about how amazing the show was. And then on top of that, it was also snowing. I'm in Texas. We don't get like a lot of snow. And especially where I'm at, if we do get snow, which is going to be very, very rare, it turns into either ice or slush. Either way, it melts up, it freezes. But, you know, seeing actual snow in New York, I was kind of freaking out. I think few people could tell I was definitely not from New York. Because of how much I was freaking out over the snow. And probably how much I was freaking out over seeing a show on Broadway. So, it was fun. And, we came back the 5th day. When we got to the airport, we didn't have much time for me to just go get food since it was around lunchtime. Because once we got there, our flight started to board. So all I had to eat for that day was pretty much pretzels from the plane. So yeah, it was fun. So I didn't really have much to eat until we made it back to Dallas. And so, we had actually boarded two different flights for cost reasons, to keep things a little bit cheaper. And so the other flight was delayed like an hour. And so as they were on their way back, we went somewhere, got food, and a friend can attest to this. I was the angriest and most hungriest I have probably ever been. And it was a trip going through just like having had only pretzels. So when we got to the mall, I was ready for food, and that was all I could think about, was nothing else, just food. So it was great, and I was about to fight like probably two different people, my friend and another person that went on the trip with us, so it was great, but I survived. That's the main thing. And so, like, once we had all gotten our food and we were told we could take it back on the bus, we just had to be careful and make sure that we didn't make a big mess. And I did not make a big mess. I can say that for sure. I was good for once. Oh boy. And, like, so once we got done, we got back on the bus, went back to the airport, picked up the other group, and then came back here to Abilene. And it was so much fun. I would love to go back to New York again. York. I would love to go back to New York again. But right now, I don't really have like the money to do so, because broke college student, it's fine. So I just kind of wanted to make this video to wrap up like the rest of that trip. It was so good. And I just loved it so much.